Recording in progress.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. My name is Rich Madalino. I'm the Chief Administrative Officer for the Montgomery County Government. Fortunately, the county executive could not be with us this evening, but we wanted to make sure to give the press an opportunity to get an update about where we are on our storm response, what our plans are for the next day, and more, and to hear from and give you the chance to ask a variety of county leaders for questions about the storm cleanup. I want to start always saying thank you to the thousands of county employees who have been out on the streets since Saturday evening, and even before, pre-treating the streets, then treating the streets, and now cleaning the streets. In addition to all of the firefighters, the police officers, other first responders, our correctional staff, our employees with Health and Human Services, we have a tremendous number of people out and about. And so while we may have been officially closed today from an office standpoint, we were not closed from the standpoint of delivering services to the people of the county. And like all of my colleagues here, I just want to say thank you for that effort and that appreciation. And of course, thank you to the taxpayers of the county who've continued to support and provide the resources that allow us to do much of this response. We take that responsibility seriously, and we're glad we're able to provide comprehensive services to help with the storm response. So a little bit of updates. The county government will be in a liberal leave posture tomorrow. So we will be open, but liberal leave. People who can telework, I'm sure many of them will take their opportunity to telework. We will have to address certain facilities as we go through the day. But right now, 85% of our facilities have been cleared and are accessible. So we are anxious to get county facilities back open, although our recreation programs will be canceled tomorrow because the school system is closed. Stay tuned, watch the county website for details about individual facilities. We may find problems and not able to open every one of the facilities, but overall county government will be open tomorrow. We will be we have asked, remember, we did not collect trash today. Joining me on this call, I'm sorry, our council president, Natalie Fanny Gonzalez, our transportation director, Chris Conklin, our director of environmental protection, Jennifer Macedonia, our director of the Department of Health and Human Services, Dr. James Bridgers, our health officer, Dr. Keisha Davis, Christine Hong, who's the director of the division chief for our division to end support and end homeless services to end and prevent homelessness. Sorry, a little trying to explain what SEF stands for. We've got Dr. Earl Stoddard, who's an assistant chief administrative officer, Mara Parker from the Office of Emergency Management and Homeland Security, and our Deputy Director of the Department of Housing and Community Affairs, Jenny Snap. So we will be going through all of them to give you little updates. But what I started to say about trash collection, we didn't do trash collection yesterday, today, just like a holiday, just like last week where Monday was a holiday, we didn't do trash collection. Everyone slid back a day. We will be doing that same thing. So we will be attempting the trash collection, which normally would have happened on a Monday, tomorrow on Tuesday. I'm sure it will be a challenge. Ask everyone, again, to be patient. Broadly speaking, our message, be patient with us. As we finish the roads, as we pick up trash, as we do all these things, we are trying our best, doing very well, getting stuff done, but we will be, again, hitting hiccups, hitting hurdles, having hiccups, trying to get things done. So please be patient as we deal with the largest storm we've had probably in a decade, and a complex storm with all of the sleet that came down. So One little thing I want to throw in at the top too is a lot of people may know that we were scheduled on Wednesday night to do our point in time count of the unhoused in our county. It's a big effort, takes a lot of volunteers overnight because of everyone's work, including many of the people who would be out there helping manage the whole count. We are delaying that for a week. So right now that will be scheduled for next Wednesday instead of this Wednesday. So if you're a volunteer, remember that. I'm sure Christine will talk about that when she comes up. So right now I want to pass it over to Council President Natalie Fanny Gonzalez.
Thank you so much, Mr. Madaleno. Again, my name is Natalie Fanny Gonzalez. I'm the president of the Montgomery County Council. I'm going to say a couple of things. Number one, it takes a village. Please help us spread the word that we need help clearing sidewalks. If you live in a place with a sidewalk, please make sure that you do your due diligence and help clear the sidewalk. If you know that your neighbor or somebody from your community needs help, is a senior, somebody with physical challenges, please help them. I know my family and I have done our part in helping our neighbors, but we need more help. Also, if you have fire hydrants nearby, clear them up. That's also a good way to help in this at this time. The last thing I'm going to say is that Montgomery County Council, remember that we meet on Tuesdays. I have decided to start session at 10:30 a.m. instead of 9 o'clock, just to keep time, not just for council members, but for staff and those who are registered to testify in our public hearings tomorrow to get safely to the county council. With that said, if you have registered to testify tomorrow, I encourage you to please use the virtual option. We have our clerk who has actively reached out to every single person who signed up and offered the Zoom link so they don't have to come to the council building, okay? So that's something else I wanted to mention. And a reminder that there's no school tomorrow. I am a mom. I have 2 kids in MCPS, and my kids are very happy. I'm not, but they are. So just that quick reminder, and I'm going to say this in Spanish for 20 seconds, so please bear with me. Hola, mi nombre es Natalie Fanny González y soy la presidenta del Consejo del Condado de Montgomery. Simplemente para recordarles que estamos todavía en el proceso de remover la nieve en nuestro condado y necesitamos su ayuda. Por favor, si usted tiene aceras en el frente de su casa, necesitamos su ayuda para limpiar y quitar la nieve en las aceras y también en los sitios donde los bomberos sacan en agua. También hacer eso. Y si usted se registró para testificar el día de mañana en el Consejo, tenemos una serie de audiencias públicas. Lo invitamos a que participe de manera virtual para que no tenga que venir mañana al Consejo. Vamos a empezar a las 10:30 de la mañana. Con eso, muchas gracias por su atención y sigamos colaborando para que podamos pasar esta nevada de manera saludable y segura. Back to you, Rich.
Thank you, Council President Fanny Gonzalez. Before we go on, anyone have any specific questions for the Council President? As in, who do I call if I want you to come over to shovel my sidewalk? No, I'm sorry.
You shovel your own sidewalk.
Oh, okay.
So there are no questions from me, so that means that Natalie can leave. I leave you all in great hands.
Okay.
Thank you.
I won't point out that you're my council district representative. So
I know, lucky you. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. So now we're going to go on to the person that probably everyone wants to hear from right now, including his own family members, Chris Conklin, our Director of Transportation.
Well, thank you, Rich. Thank you, Natalie. First, I'm going to offer some thank yous. First, I'm going to thank our residents for heeding the advice and staying largely off the roads yesterday and today. I've been out and around the county, and it's been good to see the light level of traffic and travel that's been happening as both county, state, and municipal crews are out there trying to get the roads, sidewalks cleared. I also want to thank the workers in DOT, transit, parking, traffic, and highway that have been out there continuously through this event, keeping the facilities open and safe. It's a lot of work, and the people work hard, and they appreciate the work they do and actually get joy out of serving the community. So They may be scowling sometimes because they're long days, but I can vouch for their appreciation for the community and the work they're doing. In terms of the status, I'll first talk about our ride-on system. Ride-on has operated throughout this event. We have been moving people. There were a large number of people using the buses today compared to the amount of people traveling by other means. It's very challenging to use the buses with snowbanks between bus stops and the bus, but we are continuing to provide that service at a level that is probably greater than other locations in the region right now. We will be operating at an S plan tomorrow, which is about 75% of the regular weekday service. Those schedules are available online, and we expect that service to go relatively smoothly, aside from some detours in areas that are still impacted by snow cover. In terms of the highway services operation and snow plowing, we have completed the principal work on all the main routes, so that's about 1,100 lane miles of the roads within the county. They are all open and passable. There are challenges if you're driving, so please be cautious if you're driving. There are challenges with sight distance at intersections, particularly for vehicles turning left in median openings. And there are challenges with people walking in the street because sidewalks are otherwise unavailable. So you need to be extra cautious when driving, particularly if you're in the right lane. We're hoping that people will walk facing traffic so that they can see what's approaching them rather than being surprised by cars coming behind them. We hope, as the council president mentioned, to be able to get people out of the streets and back onto the sidewalks. So if you're able to provide a little extra service as a member of this community to clear a sidewalk or make a passage to the bus stop, between the bus stop and the curb, near your home, much like fire hydrants, we would greatly appreciate that assistance to improve the safety of those two systems. Moving forward, as I mentioned, we've deployed heavy equipment to clear a number of problematic areas where a lot of snow has been piled up. Those operations are going to go full force this evening in the central business districts, Wheaton, Bethesda, and Silver Spring, to clear snow from the sidewalks and crosswalks and get rid of snowbanks in those areas where there's really no room. There are other areas around the county, like Germantown Town Center, where that service is also going to be provided. We'll be hauling all night, so you'll see a lot of trucks with snow traveling from those areas to other parts of the county where that snow is dumped, and one day it may melt. We'll see what the temperature gradients bring us, but it'll at least be stored there until it no longer exists. In terms of the residential streets, which I'm sure a lot of people are mostly concerned about, we began operation in the neighborhoods at 8 o'clock this morning after we had got the primary network in better shape. Those have continued all day. We're currently at about 50% complete in terms of making a pass through neighborhoods. It's important to mention that given the snow characteristics, and you've all experienced this with your own driveway, that first pass is not going to get us to bare pavement, but the road should be passable. You'll have to travel with caution given the likely icy and slippery surface, but you will be able to move on those roads. We're going to continue that operation until we've made our way through the whole residential road network. We anticipate getting that first pass through the whole network completed by the end of the day tomorrow. And then we will continue to work beyond that to revisit areas that need additional clearing and to begin paying more attention to pedestrian refuge islands, curb cuts, and other places where people need to get through the snow that's piled up. And also our bikeway network will get more attention at that point in time. We have about 1,100 or so bus stops that are cleared by different agencies in this county. There are 4,000 that aren't. So again, if you have the ability to pay attention to a bus stop that's near your property, we greatly appreciate that assistance. In terms of other operations, we are continuing the snow emergency that's been in effect since before the snow started falling. We are going to continue that through the day tomorrow at a minimum. When we think we're getting ready to lift the snow emergency, we will give plenty of warning so that people can get their cars back out of parking garages before fee payment and enforcement resumes. If you're in a situation where you don't have somewhere to take your car back, you can leave your car in these facilities after that time, but the payment requirements will come back into place. In terms of this evening, we had anticipated that we would be asking people to switch the side of the street their car is on. We are not doing that. Given the condition of the roads and that we haven't made it all the way through the residential network, we are asking people to leave their car on the even side of the street where it should have been parked before the snow emergency. And I think that's probably all of the issues. We have not seen many other traffic issues. We have had one traffic signal knocked down that's in the state of repair now. And I do want to thank, I was out and about in the area around Wheaton and to the north of Wheaton earlier today, and there were lots of people clearing sidewalks, clearing their driveways, working together as neighbors to clear up the area around their homes. And I think that's the best way for us to get through this. The snow is thick, it's heavy, it's hard to move. People are exhausted after clearing a driveway. Take care of yourself, take care of your neighbors, make sure you're safe. Don't put your health in jeopardy trying to move this snow. I'm happy to take any questions later on in this.
It was Chris who said to me on Wednesday, as a reminder, we are going to be exercising some muscles. We haven't for a while because we've had several winters of low snow, and I think that can be said about shoveling. So as people get out and they shovel, I'm sure we're going to hear from Dr. Davis about the need to be careful about heat and overexertion. So we've got Suzanne Pollock with her hand up. If people have very specific transportation questions for Chris Conklin, raise your hand. Suzanne.
Hi, thanks. What I was wondering is, do you know how many trucks are on the road? How many man hours you've been using so far?
I don't know how many man hours. I know that the duration of our deployment has been over 40 hours in clock time so far. And through that duration, we've had on the order of magnitude of 500 or so pieces of equipment. I hate that term, but pieces of equipment and crews manning that equipment out working. And those are supported by additional staff that are at depots loading salt and the coordination of the administrative functions, sequencing of work, staffing, and all of those things. So it's a large number of people. It's probably, in addition to the crews on the street, it's another couple hundred people that are supporting the operation and other functions.
Thanks.
Any other questions directly for our transportation director, Chris Conklin? All right. Well, Chris, hopefully you don't have to run to a snowplow right now and you can stay on because if more questions come up.
I'll stay on. Yep.
All right. Mara Parker from our County Office of Emergency Management and Homeland Security.
It is a mouthful. Thank you for having me, Mr. Madaleno. The Montgomery County Office of Emergency Management and Homeland Security activated our Emergency Operations Center, or EOC, at 8 p.m. Saturday evening and just deactivated that in person this afternoon. I want to echo the thanks to all of our hardworking partners who worked tirelessly the past 48 hours to help staff the EOC, keep people safe, and also didn't have the chance to go make snow angels with their children while they were keeping all of us safe. The dangers of the system that we've just experienced are not over, and I would emphasize that we expect our temperatures to remain well below freezing for the remainder of the week and indeed into early February, with real temperature lows could be in the single digits. So please make an effort to leave no skin exposed, bring in your pets, check on your vulnerable neighbors, and use space heaters safely and wisely. As the National Weather Service said, this storm was extraordinary, like the Pineapple Express of moist air meeting the Siberian Express of cold air. It produced up to 3 inches of heavy sleet on top of the 5 to 9 inches of snow. That ends up weighing the equivalent of about 20 inches of snow when you are shoveling. So please take it slow, take breaks, and help your vulnerable neighbors, as others have pointed out. And I also want to remind folks to allow extra time tomorrow morning to thoroughly clean all of the hard packed snow and ice off the tops and the sides of your car. I did see chunks of icy snow flying off of cars who were driving a bit too fast on the Beltway on my way home from the EOC today. So please make sure that you clean that off so it doesn't act as a projectile flying off your vehicle. Slow down as well and watch out for our plows, our first responders, tow truck drivers, and any stranded vehicles who may remain on the side of the road. look out for each other, and also sign up for Alert Montgomery if you are not already signed up. That will give you advance notice about preparations for storms like this one, including the potential for another storm later this week. And I will just conclude by saying, if you haven't already, get out there and enjoy the snow tomorrow, but bundled up. That's all for me.
And remember, while you're driving, lanes might disappear from where snow has not been cleared. It is quite a production to clear snow in Montgomery County, because the state is clearing the roads on all the numbered roads like the Beltway or 355. We're clearing many of the other roads, but our municipal governments are clearing other roads. So you might be on one road to you, and it might travel through three different entities that are trying to clear the snow. So be careful again as you're driving. Think through overnight. Black ice could return. It's very cold outside, so we just got to be aware of those things. We are now going to hear from our Deputy Director of the Department of Housing and Community Affairs, Jenny Snap.
Thank you. Good evening. As mentioned, I'm Jenny Snap. I'm the Deputy Director of the Department of Housing and Community Affairs. I'm here this evening to give an update on snow and ice removal from the county sidewalks. The county has regulations in place for snow and ice removal to protect our residents' safety from harmful conditions when using our sidewalks. However, we recognize that the conditions of the last couple of days have made mitigation less than ideal. Considerations have been made due to wind and cold temperatures, along with compacting snow and ice conditions that put certain populations of residents at risk due to their health. Due to these sustaining freezing temperatures and the current regional shortages of salt and ice melt materials, our county executive has issued a temporary extension of the standard 24-hour snow and ice removal requirement to up to 48 hours in cases where surfaces are ice-packed and cannot be easily cleared. As such, complaints related to snow and ice removal will not be investigated until 48 hours after this event has ended. So for this event, that 48-hour period ends in the evening. That's tomorrow, Tuesday, January 27th, 2026. Property owners are still expected to take interim safety measures, including treating surfaces with available materials. I know a lot of people have had trouble finding ice melt or salt, so they can apply any such items such as sand, kitty litter, salt, or other traction aids where they're available. And they need to prioritize entrances, exits, and accessible routes. Paths must be accessible to pedestrians and wheelchair users. Enforcement will focus on whether reasonable efforts were made under the circumstances rather than strict adherence to timeframes when conditions prevent effective abatement. Additionally, after the 48-hour period has concluded, our code inspectors at Housing and Community Affairs will begin investigating complaints related to snow and ice removal. After Tuesday, January 27th, notices of violations will be issued with a cure period of 48 hours. So this means that abatement of a notice will be 48 hours rather than the previous 24-hour regulation. Lastly, these are for Montgomery County snow and ice sidewalk removal regulations, that is Section 4917, that do not include the City of Rockville or the City of Gaithersburg. These two jurisdictions, Rockville and Gaithersburg, have their own regulations regarding snow removal. We appreciate your cooperation, and as others have said, please be good neighbors and take time to check in on older adults and vulnerable people who live near you, especially those who live alone. We have received some calls from people that are having issues shoveling their sidewalk due to a lot of these conditions that I've already described. Residents should direct questions or concerns about unshoveled sidewalks that pose a safety hazard to pedestrians to our county 311 system. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. Now we're going to go to Jennifer Macedonia, our Director of the Department of Environmental Protection.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. Are you able to hear me? Yeah. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. This is Jennifer Macedonia, Director of the Department of Environmental Protection. I also want to join my colleagues in thanking all of the workers and contractors who are clearing snow and ice, including those at our transfer station and materials recovery facility. I wanted to just report and reemphasize that our county provided recycling and refuse collection services are scheduled to resume tomorrow, Tuesday, January 27th, and will operate on a slide collection schedule for the rest of the week. That means 1 day later than your normal day of the week, with the last pickup on Saturday, January 31st. Please understand that changes may occur based on road conditions. Our priority is safety and timely service. We also ask that you attempt your best to make sure that containers are accessible and clear of snow and ice, recognizing that the weather does not always make that easy. And I also wanted to mention for collection services not provided by the county that you need to check with your local municipality, HOA, or your private contractor about when they will be resuming service. And again, please be patient as the weather conditions may be causing additional delays, but we're doing our best to keep the safety of our residents and our collection contractors as our priority. So stay informed, sign up for Alert Montgomery for real-time updates. You can also check the Department of Environmental Protection on social media or our website, montgomerycountymaryland.gov/DEP. I also wanted to mention, encourage you all to be salt-wise. So of course we want to maintain safety as a priority and watch for a refreeze if there is any melt. But want to also just highlight, while salt helps prevent ice, it doesn't work well below 15 degrees. And we know we're getting some pretty low temperatures. We also just want to encourage you to salt after the snow is cleared to prevent icy conditions. It's not going to work on top of 6 or 10 inches of snow and packed down. And then also to use the right amount. After shoveling and as temperatures drop, apply salt sparingly to treat any icy spots. So 12 ounces of salt covers 10 sidewalk squares or a typical size driveway. And as mentioned, you can consider alternatives for traction, things like coffee grounds or bird seed. If possible, avoid sand because it does clog storm drains and can harm streams and damage the environment, as can too much salt. So again, be sparing so that we protect our plants and our pets and our infrastructure, as salt can pollute rivers and streams and cannot be removed from our water. So please use sparingly and only what's necessary to stay safe. Thank you very much. Back to you, Rich.
Thank you, Jennifer. We're dealing with so many different things happening all at once and asking people to look out for your neighbors, don't use too much salt, all those things. And I'm just going to add another one to the pile. As we were sitting here, we got an update from DC Water. Of course, people know there's been a leak in a wastewater pipe that travels from Fairfax County and Loudoun County through our county to go to the sewage treatment plant at Blue Plains in the District of Columbia. They're asking for people in Montgomery County as well as Fairfax and Loudoun counties, please, during this period of time for the foreseeable future, do not use flushable wipes. Minimize the amount of grease that you put down the drains. So again, because of this leak, they've been successful in getting the pumps up and running, and the pumps are now moving wastewater out of the collapsed pipe, doing away with the spill that was going into the river, but it's going to move down a portion of the C&O Canal for about 1,500 feet before it's put back down into the pipe. So in order to make this all work, they're asking again, limit your use of flushable wipes and limit the amount of grease that you pour down the drains. I'm sure DC Water would be happy to talk to any reporters about what they're doing and the work that they're continuing to do to fix this massive pipe, the Potomac, what is it called? The Potomac Interceptor. So thank you for that. Now we're going to go to the team from the Department of Health and Human Services, starting with our director, Dr. James Bridgers.
Good evening, and thank you again, Mr. Madaleno, for an opportunity to provide yet another update. I too want to thank all of our community partners for allowing us to work in their space and move in their space and providing support to our spaces. We had a lot of outreach teams in the community getting our unhoused countyans out of the cold and into a warm space. I know Christine is going to talk a little bit about that when she speaks. Dr. Davis has been actively engaging in our clinical spaces, working with our hospital network systems, our community-based clinics, and other centers that may need medical support. One of the strengths in the Department of Health and Human Services is that we are an integrated agency. Now, what does that mean? It means that we have multiple services who can quickly respond to challenges in the community, whether or not it be in our senior spaces or in our unhoused or services to prevent homelessness space, in our schools and working with our school partners, our behavioral health. We found out and we know that many of our community folks who are unhoused may have some additional challenges that will limit their ability to want to even come in space. And so we're able to work with our great crisis services to get folks in a warm space and to get food and water and shelter, which are the basic needs in which we all require. We also are able to deploy our mobile crisis outreach teams as best as possible to spaces where individuals may need additional support or to just have someone to talk to. And so we appreciate all the support that our community provided to the department during these unprecedented weather events and times. I'll stop there. If there are no questions for me, Mr. Madaleno, I will toss it over to Dr. Davis for her update now.
Thank you, Dr. Bridgers. Thank you for the opportunity, Rich. So while the storm is over, we know the danger of cold is going to continue at least through the next week. And so we encourage people to continue to dress in layers, stay warm, protect those fingertips and earlobes and tips of your nose to prevent frostbite and hypothermia. As my son said today while he was sledding, "Mom, I can't feel my fingers. Could that be frostbite?" Yes, go inside and warm up. If you're cold, won't stop shivering, you want to make sure that you are getting in and warming up. Watch out for the signs of a heart attack, chest pain, or trouble breathing. We haven't had to lift snow like this. And if you're not used to exercising, you may be working muscles in ways that you haven't for quite a while. We also want to remind folks that alcohol and other substances can blunt the feeling of being cold. So while we want everybody to get out there and enjoy the snow, we want them to do it substance-free. And most importantly, take breaks and stay hydrated. When it's warm outside and you're doing a lot of lifting and working, you often we remind people to drink fluids, but we forget about that when it's cold. Your body still needs that water, so make sure you're staying hydrated. And again, I just want to echo the thanks and appreciation for our team, our public health emergency preparedness team, who has been working around the clock 24/7 in partnership with our hospitals to make sure that people are getting the things that they need. Our behavioral health and crisis team and the crisis center, who also have been working around the clock, and our homeless outreach team, who I know Chief Hong will mention them as well. So with that, I will turn it over to Chief Hong.
Thank you so much, Dr. Davis. And I also have many thanks to give, but before I do that, I'll share a little bit about the number of people that we have sheltered over the weekend. So our emergency shelters for individuals expanded by 264 beds on top of our year-round total of beds, which is 346. So we served about 610 individual adults in our emergency shelters, and that's on top of an additional 111 families. So when we did our count, that was approximately 1,000 people who were safely provided shelter over the weekend. And I have to give a huge thanks to our emergency shelter partners. They continue to staff those locations throughout the storm. And in addition, I want to continue to thank the work that our outreach partners did prior to the storm, urging anyone who was unsheltered and outside to come indoors. And most of them, as we learned, did. And so this work truly did save the lives of many people. And then in addition to that, I have to thank our SEF team members who worked tirelessly over the weekend and throughout the storm for the past 3 days, as well as our behavioral health and crisis services, sister service area that provided much support through the crisis center and the mobile crisis and outreach teams. The Salvation Army provided food to anyone who didn't have it, including at expanded locations. The Red Cross provided cots and blankets. And of course, we can't do our work without our public safety system and the Office of Emergency Management and Homeland Security. So truly thank you to all of you who assisted in this effort over the past 3 days. I just want to provide information in addition about how to access our county's homeless services. So we have a number of different ways to do that. We have a homeless information line, which is 240-907-2688, as well as an email address, both of which I'll put in the chat. And this is to provide tips on folks who are seen outside, and to provide information to our county outreach partners as well as our diversion team. This phone line is staffed 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, so it isn't 24/7, and it's not set up as an emergency response. However, that is typically how we connect folks to shelter during business hours. In addition to this, for general resources that SEF provides, residents can contact 311. That includes our eviction prevention resources. And then if you encounter anyone who's having a medical emergency or any life-threatening situations, just a reminder that you can go straight to 911. This is if someone's experiencing hypothermia because it's so extremely cold outside. So I wanted to remind everyone of that. And then lastly, for other situations requiring prompt attention during non-business hours of the homeless information line, including county observed holidays or emergency closures like we had today, individuals can contact the Crisis Center at 240-777-4000, and they can also assist with more urgent shelter placements. So many thanks to all of the partners involved in staffing those different lines. And I also wanted to move then to the news that we have postponed the point in time count. It was to take place on Wednesday night, and we have decided, due to the extreme cold, to move that to next Wednesday, February 4th. We had more than 200 volunteers register to help with the point in time count, which is to literally go out in the community and count the number of individuals who are unsheltered. We will be focusing this week instead on making sure folks are coming indoors and safe, since temperatures at night will be in the single digits. And so we will be providing more information on next week's date and sending out a communication to everyone who is registered for the point in time count this week, so they are aware of the change and will have the details for next week's count. So many thanks to all community members who support our efforts to prevent and end homelessness. And with that, I'll stop and I'll take questions if there are any.
Okay, I think we've been through everybody's presentation. Dr. Stoddard, I don't know if you had anything you wanted to add.
Chief Smedley just asked that I share to make sure people continue to check their smoke alarms and their carbon monoxide detectors, make sure that they maintain batteries. Obviously, with utilizing the fires and other things inside, those can be important things. And that be cautious overloading your electrical systems, plugging in extra space heaters and the like. You can cause, you can cause fires that way. And so that's just a caution given the extreme temperatures. We're going to get into low single digits overnight tonight and likely overnight for much of the next week. So obviously it is life-threatening cold out there, and we ask people to be cautious. And if you do see unhoused individuals or people at risk outside, please do make the appropriate calls, and we can get them the assistance that they need. Stop there.
All right. That's all of our presentations. Anyone from the press have any questions for us? Anyone? All righty. Well, again, thank you to everyone on the call. Thank you for all the updates. I know we've provided lots of information to our community, and we'll be getting that out through a variety of channels. Thank you to everyone who's worked so hard on this storm cleanup, and will continue to work. And remember, look out for yourselves, look out for your neighbors. And if you have a chance, I'm sure all of our county workers who are out there working on your behalf would love to hear a thank you or two as well. So with that, have a safe and warm evening.